아리나 그림이죠.
Okay, you're listening to the AK Mindset. Please beware of spoilers for shows such as One Piece, Bleach, Naruto, My Hero Academia, Haikyuu, and others. If you're not caught up with the manga yet, we advise you to listen carefully, and we hope you enjoy the show.
The AK Mindset.
I wanted to ask the question, why do you guys think animators get paid so badly? And I think we kind of touched on it earlier on in our discussions about like the studios and the production, but just give me your thoughts on that question.
I think it's definitely a question that's very complex, and it's going to sound weird but also simple at the same time. Just understanding, especially when we've obviously expanded our knowledge on this topic, we see how many layers and how like expansive this hierarchy is. So depending on how I think animators and certain aspects of the animation process are seen to be, I'm looking for the right word. I wouldn't say less valuable, but individuals put less emphasis on like saying, oh, we need to respect you as an animator, instead of the idea that you're indispensable. So there's multiple animators we're able to access and get. So because of how much the industry has failed them and failed the whole system, you get individuals who are unable, especially who are new and early in their career in animation or sound engineering or storyboarding or the many vast aspects of the process. They are willing to accept a low position because they think that's the norm and that's the reality they have to accept. And the false kind of image that there's a false image in the industry that's how it's supposed to be, and that's how it's going to continue to be. And there's few voices who are saying, no, we have to make a change. No, this I know there was a quote from one of the Studio Ghibli directors. I might mash up his name, but it's Miyazaki. So if I mashed up his name, but he was like, there's a false assumption that animators love their work and will keep going on their low wages. And that's like the deep root issue, that people, because of their love for anime and their love for the animation process, will continue to, without having like a lot of recognition for what they've done, will continue to just flock towards any studio and do a large quantity of work for limited amount of pay. And there needs to be a restructuring of cultural norms within the industry. There needs to be a restructuring of how we view art and labor, and as the organization itself, the conditions and everything within the scope of the anime industry just has to be rethought and restructured just to meet the modern world and the ever adapting world. And just having clarity with the industry being more, if it was able to be more open, and we were able to from the outside have, so because a lot of things we read, if we didn't go and read these articles, watch these videos, they will go unnoticed throughout our lives. But if there was true clarity and it was just well known and publicized, I'll be like, no, I have to rethink how I access my anime. I have to rethink how I support. I have to rethink how I voice my opinions and stuff like that. And I think that's like the most important thing, you know, just voicing that there needs to be a change.
Very good. Very good.
Just piggybacking off Rajel's point, I think one thing that when I was researching, one thing I noticed is I think it's based on the culture. the idea of labels, like, you know, this guy's this guy's that, and this guy's that, and because of that, and this is just how things are, because you're only a storyboard and you're storyboard teller, or you're only in betweener, you're only a key animator, so you don't get as much respect as the director of the whole situation, as the assistant director. I think they focus on labels. I think that's one of the main reasons, and I think it's because of the culture as well. It's this kind of senpai culture. It's like, you're my elder, you're in this field of work, you're my superior, which means like I have to respect everything you do, and the whole culture respects you. It's like, once animation is finished, I followed a documentary of a guy who was like, he felt like he did so much work for like animation, like anime, but he wasn't like acknowledged at all, and everything went to the director of the whole situation, and he felt like not like downplaying directors or anything, but he felt like all the did was like structure, like, oh, do this, do that, and people going to the nitty-gritty of the making of the show don't get enough praise just because that person is only seen as a key animator and not what a key animator does, if that makes sense. They're seen as a in-betweener, someone that makes the frames in between key animations. They're only seen as the term. You're only seen as a key animator, you're only seen as a storyboard teller, you're only seen as a voice recorder. You're not seen as the wood job you actually do, the hard work it takes to actually do the stuff, the hours, the like suffering you have to take, like not sleepless nights and stuff like that, just to get paid terrible money, but still you don't get your praise. And most people don't do it for praise, but some people don't like animations that much in the first place. They're just doing it for a way of living, and you know, it's always nice to get acknowledged for what you do, but once you don't get acknowledged and just seen as a label, I think that's one of the reasons why most animators don't get paid much, because they're not even seen as a real person. They're not seen as the amount of jobs they do. You're just seen as that label, or you're just an animator. That's what you're supposed to do. This has happened for 30 years, for 40 years. You know, stop complaining, do your work as an animator. And I think it can be very detrimental to how animators are looked at and how animation goes going forward.
Yeah, that's a really good point. These things all start up top, and you say changing the culture, you know, how people are viewed. Also, you have to think the fact that the things that the work schedule, the work environments that we're seeing, these are basically sweatshops. There's no other way to describe it. These types of things, these types of conditions should be illegal for anybody to be working in, and then for them to not get properly compensated for that, on top of that, makes it even worse. And that all starts from the top. It's a culture issue, and it's also an issue of these people are affected mainly by decisions that are made the people up top, by the people up top. So when they mess up, everybody else suffers, but they get to continue on and, you know, pocket their money. And yeah, it's a culture issue not only in Japan, but it's a culture issue everywhere as well, in terms of, you know, the what we're seeing in terms of capitalism. But yeah, I'll let Daniel add in what he wants to do.
Yeah, I think you guys really answered that brilliantly, to be honest. Like, you touched on many good points, especially work culture, the structure of the system, and lack of respect. Because when it comes to, like, as you guys were saying, it starts at the top, and because these people at the top will take so much money from the production, and that's another thing, how costly the process of making the thing is. It means that they don't have, the way they save costs is by reducing the animators' budgets. I mean, what's the salaries even? So because of all these things, it's what affects the people who are actually putting in these long hours. Some people, I was watching the video Rotimi was saying, like, some of these people, they don't even get time to shower, and like, these are basic things like that most humans should have the right to do, but they don't because of the work conditions they have. And the production committee is, like, I think that's one of the main reasons why, and like the way the production of anime is, that's a big reason for why animators don't get paid as well, because the way it works is that because the production companies will contribute the most money, they will take the most profit. because they're thought of as taking the most risk in the whole process of making the anime. So, and it's very unlikely for an animation studio to be sitting at the top of that committee, because if you're not like a stable animation studio like Toei, they're quite stable because of how big they are, and you see that in how they're put at the top of their production committee. So that means they're able to receive the most money from their works, meaning that they can probably pay their people better than a smaller studio like Mappa. And also another thing is, like, these external companies like Kadokawa, Netflix, they're putting a lot of money in, but they're also taking a lot of money out. And I was reading on another article that the animation studio only receives like half the money after the initial monies that's put in. So like, if you have to think, they have to pay the script writers, the directors, the people who do special effects, the voice actors. When you get down to it, like, what money is left over will probably go to like the key animators and the in-between animators who get like the least amount of money because their work is kind of looked down upon compared to the key animators, which isn't right, but like, they're just trying to make the process, I guess, as sustainable as they can, but they're not doing a good job, which is shown from all these, I guess, non-profit organizations trying to step up to change the status quo. And another thing, like you guys were saying about how long it's been like that, and people have just been, I guess, ignorant, and like I think Rajel, you were saying, like, if we didn't go out to research this, we wouldn't know anything. Like, we actually have to go out and look into this, because it's not really talked about as much as it should be, which is, it's a shame, because like, once you're educated, you kind of, it does change your perspective on these shows and like the conditions that some of these people are working through. Like, I think one of the recent shows, Wonder Egg Priority, that was, like Vijel knows, that show looks amazing, but production wise, these guys were running their animators like they were in the hospital, and like they were delivering the episodes on the day it was supposed to be aired, because they didn't have a big enough team and they didn't have enough time to do the episodes properly, so the people were getting sick, and that's not really right.
It's just like mad for me how, because of how problematic the industry is and how the lack of innovation in the industry, as everything around them has expanded and grown, which obviously, you know, if you don't grow with the growth you're getting and to meet deadlines and stuff, if you don't grow to max out what you can in your production and efficiency, it's going to be problematic throughout. There's something's going to fall short, and especially with Wonder Egg Priority, it feels like when you come to that side of production, you have to pick your poison. to say that you have to pick what. So you'll be like, okay, you know, right now, I can't imagine being in those meetings or being in those circles where you have to decide, okay, right now, this is the budget. Do we go small on our team and the production and the sound engineering? Do we go small on that, or do we have a big team and then reduce our spending on stuff that impact the quality of the animation, or or just licensing, or the ability to spend on advertisement and get like efficient numbers, or like draw attention to the your piece of art that you're working on? And that's so crazy for me that you would have to be put in that predicament where you have to decide how you're gonna die, essentially, because only a few animes and animation teams and animation production companies are able to withstand the large pressures that are put onto them, especially with the pandemic. Oh my days, when reading stuff about how many shows we didn't get to see, how many shows, and I feel it feels selfish talking about we didn't get to see that show. That should be the last thing on my mind. I should be thinking the fact that these individuals who had a vision and worked so passionately towards their ideas and stuff weren't able to bring it out. And probably had a phone call or an email saying, "Oh, we scrapped your idea because of this. We couldn't afford to have this because of this." You know what I mean? And there is money in the worst thing. There's money in the industry. It's just not being run right. If the industry is run right, everybody eats, man. Everybody eats.
Facts, definitely facts.
Yeah, facts.
And I think that's a good point to segue into how we can support the industry and the animators directly, and what small things that we can do as like individuals, part of the bigger picture, to at least contribute to helping the process improve and at least helping these people have better working conditions. So I'll start actually. I found recently from the video Rotimi sent me, it's called the Animators Dormitory Project, and this is a non-profit organization which helps newly trained animators like find their feet, gives them a proper salary, sets them up with work so they can actually survive, and until that they can, I guess, sustain themselves by I think it gives them a dorm and a living space, helps with the training, advice, stuff like that. And it's a crowdfunding project. They've got a YouTube channel too, and it's just a small way that I like you as an individual, if you want to actually help animators who are struggling, you can go look them up and contribute to their crowdfunding project. I think they've been going on for like, I think it's actually 10 years. They started in 2011, and it was started by the CG guy Rotimi was mentioning. I think his name's Jun Sugawara. So that's one project that you can look into.
Yeah, I think one way I would say you can support animes is, like, most times not everything is down to money, because some people don't have money and some people can like go through that road. I think just the best thing you can do is just talk about it. Seriously, I think you'd be surprised the amount of people do not know how animation works, how things go, how it happens, how difficult it is, how very like frustrating even just animation is, how animators get like nothing from the amount of work to do. So you just talk about it. And I also say social media. Animators, they have social media. Support them, talk to them, know they're appreciated, share the work, retweet, like just show support in that way, so they know that people actually appreciate what I'm doing. Maybe I should ask for more. Maybe I should take myself for granted. So I think simple stuff like that. Obviously, you can support crowdfunding stuff like that. But I think talking more about it, following them on social media, showing them you appreciate them, retweeting them, sharing their work, that little small works they do that's not even animation. It can be a picture, something simple as that. That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Yeah, talking about experimentation. Also, like, putting out there, systems and structures that could help maybe improve the financial situation as well as the work situation of the animators, all the people doing storyboards and all the people on the different levels. Like just simple things like more people getting bonuses for chance, because like people, you see this amazing animation and then people will be getting scraps. But if you produce something of such high quality, you deserve more. You deserve more than what you're being offered. You deserve extra for that, surely. Or maybe just making like the whole, or maybe just forming more companies that are based, that are just making more companies that are commission based in a way that's in a sustainable way. It'll be difficult to do that, but just having a company where maybe various people have shares in the animation studio, so everybody can benefit from the large success of an animation. Because like the video that I sent to Daniel was like I said, I mentioned it was from Vinland Saga, and everybody saw how amazing that anime is. And to know that people that work in anime were living in that sort of conditions, that shocked me to my core, because like, wow, the quality anime like that, this, and people aren't getting properly compensated for it. It's unbelievable.
The first place I go, I bring it to God. I bring it to Christ, and we'll pray about it. That's what we'll do. We'll pray about it. I'm very Ghanaian right now. I'm going to just say what, as a Ghanaian man, I bring it to Christ. But after that, it's just very important that generally we educate ourselves. Like this has really opened my eyes to just having a more deeper understanding on every level, on anything you're interested or engaged with within like your interests. Whatever you're interested, you can't just take it for granted and just consume your media, consume just anything in general. You have to have a deeper understanding, because there's generally, in every industry, things are not as they seem, or are not done as properly or efficiently, effectively as they should be. And this is showcased so well in the anime industry, and all the research we've done, it's just so eye-opening. So definitely voice your thoughts, and I think it's definitely going to have to be an outside voice that will impact that industry, because of how, when you look at it, it's so steadfast in just their roots in Japan and everything, and the culture, that is going to take a large amount of voices just to make, because sometimes you can be ignorant in dwelling in what you know. And I think that's what has happened in that industry. Everybody is naive and have naively accepted the fact that this is just how it is. And I know I don't want to be those individuals, we're from the West, let's educate you on how you should be. Now we're not like that. The West is trash as well.
Very.
But saying that, there should be some sort of accountability in terms of our media industry and other media industries across the world, saying that there is an image of what we need to aim for or aspire to be like. And it's definitely to respect all employees throughout the system, definitely to get equality and a way that effectively transfers wealth effectively and efficiently throughout the whole process. And that is a real need. It is a real need.
Yeah, well said.
Very well said.
Check it on, check